a grocery store that sold floral foam, stuff you put flowers in and stuff like that. But so she would go to work and stuff like that. So she'd have to take the bicycle, but the father had to stay home. And he had to always, because see, the father, when he was young, he went to school to be a plumber, and in the basement they had some plumbing issues, and he's the only one that knew how to fix it. So like they didn't so stressed and stuff, and just he you know, he was thinking maybe life is just pointless. You know, what is there more to it? And well, you know, he's like, all this stress, I just want to be fine and don't want to think about these things anymore. And he remember seeing a thing on fixing things well, this white truck or van thing pulls up, and these men that are inside, they jump out and they grab Matteo and they throw him in. They put a bag over his head and throw him right in the back of the truck, and they speed off while the emotional sport Chonk, which we haven't actually said his name, but his emotional sport Chonk, his name is hold on, it's coming. It was out of nowhere, so he lost his food. So Chonk helped him get some food, but since he didn't want to kill anything because he is a good Chonk, he decided to he told the snake, when we find the men who stole Matteo, you can have one of the men, but hopefully it doesn't get to that, but they had, pretty sure in the back of their, everybody in this area has lots of meats and stuff when they go to town because they always live far away. I'm sure there's a package of meat inside of the back of their van, so you could probably have that. So the snake, his name was Sylvester the snake, he was like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you, and we will get your boy back, Matteo, and I'll get the meats in the back of the van. Sounds like a plan. So they went off. I'm using the crab claw that we made. This is perfect for, it's dirty, but it's perfect for for an eraser. So we've got the snake, we've got the whole gang. Like that. Here's the snake. Snickety snake. Sylvester the snake. Body, like that. Going along with them, the gang. So, anyways, so on the way, they, anyway, so they, as they were going along, they ran into a couple of vultures. There were two vultures just on the side of the road, and they were chewing on something. And it looked like it was a deceased muskrat or something like that. I don't know. But they said, yeah, Beethoven was like, so, hey boys, have you seen a white van go by? They were driving rather hectically, and the vultures, looked at each other, being sly and such. They were like, yes, we saw that van, yes, of course we did, yes. What is it to you? What could you do for us if we tell you where that van went? Well, Beethoven was like, I don't have time, and I know where that van went because I have inner Chonk abilities. I don't need to give you anything, but it would be nice if you had seen them and whatnot. Well, the two vultures, they looked at each other and they were like, well, this Chonk means business, so we probably shouldn't play with him. So they said, yes, we've seen the van drive by, and they kind of had that laugh, if you remember from the movie The Dark Crystal, with the gelflings and the, please, I can throw my phone went, the gelflings are the little elf things, and then the Skeksis are the vulture slash lizard things. I don't know what the kinds they are, but they're like big vultures, but they're always like, Skeksy, please, like, just terrifying. Basically, you don't want to have a nightmare of that thing, so these vultures kind of look like the Skeksis on Dark Crystal. But anyways, they said they had seen them, and all that, and asked Beethoven if he had any dead animals, or that the snake looked rather ran over. But, Beethoven is like, no, the snake is not not food. You're not gonna eat the snake. If you do, me and the boys in the gang are going to you're not gonna like it, so I would say skirt off, and we're gonna continue on our rogue adventure. This is the rogue Chonk. Chonk goes rogue, basically. So, the vultures decided, well, alright, well, we're just going to fly away now, and not, they weren't much of help, but as they were walking by the dead roadkill of the muskrat's ghost, well, not necessarily ghost, but the muskrat's, like, soul, if you the men talking about the boy and how they asked the boy's name and he said Matteo, and that they were so the reason why they had kidnapped him was because he was so Matteo's family and him and his family are related to this massive kingpin that lives lives on this island, and he wanted ransom. So a long time ago he was in love with Matteo's mother. Well, that didn't go through, and Matteo and his mom and dad got together. Well, the guy was very jealous, very upset about it, so he decided to kidnap Matteo and ransom him. And this was the whole reason. So Beethoven did not want this to happen. So they all got together and they continued on the journey. And here we have the he can kind of fly too. This is the muskrat. He's like a little ghost now, but he's a little muskrat. He's got the ears and everything. So they went on their journey. Well, they got to about the edge of the bank of the place, at the edge of the coast they were at. They walked for quite some time, and they saw the white van, and it was actually partially submerged in the water. They ran up to it and looked inside, and they didn't see any source of life at all. But they saw a dock, and they saw what looked like a trail of oil in the water going out far out to an island. Well, Chonk said, Beethoven's like, well, I see they took a boat out to the island. That is where the kingpin lives. We need to get him, but we need a boat or something. Well, while they were trying to figure out how they're going to get out there, a random whale shark out of nowhere just pokes his head up, and he goes, "Hello, my name is Sebastian, the whale shark. How may I help you?" Beethoven's like, "Hey, did you see a boat go off and a white van? You see that white van in the water? Well, these men stole my person, Matteo, and are bringing him to a kingpin out on the island. I was wondering if you could help us in any way." Sebastian said, "Well, that's right, I was just minding my business, eating some plankton, and something bumped me on the head. And I presume it is this white thing, metal thing," and he went over and nudged the car. So Sebastian then said, "Well, I don't swim very fast, but I can help you." So all of the friends all gathered on top of Matteo and Sebastian, the whale shark, and they started to swim out. Sebastian made sure to be above, the level on the water so that his fin was out, and they were holding on, and he swam out there. Now it took quite some time for Sebastian to finally get to the island. Maybe almost a whole day. No, but about 8 hours to get out there, but finally made it out there. They got off on the island, they saw the boat, they went up to it, and they looked inside, and there was a machine gun just laying there. And they're like, I'm assuming that's something they use. Those sounds that we hear, the boop 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 in the distance and stuff, is what that is. We should probably take it, but none of us know how to use it, said one of the beavers. Out of nowhere, a random monkey, it was a lemur, came out of nowhere and said, "I know how to use it. I trained with it. Me and my brothers, we were in a war many years ago. It was a very, very interesting war, but a random package came out of the sky and it was full of these things, so we picked one up and we started to and it was insane. So my name is Curious George. And this monkey was, or this lemur, I guess it was a monkey slash lemur, but he had been through some things. That was a torn up looking lemur, alright, but he was missing part of his, he was missing a finger or something. He said that he accidentally bit it off in his dream because he was thinking about a banana and how juicy it was, and he actually bit off his finger. So he said that it's no biggie though because I didn't feel it. But I don't know how he didn't feel it. But anyways, his name was Curious George, but he was a different looking Curious George of the one you're kind of thinking of. And he was only curious because he, being curious and seeing that gun that goes bup 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 bup, and using it, that's a curiosity, killed a cat. And he actually did kill a cat by accident with the thing, but it wasn't a good cat, it was a bad one. It was one that was trying to take away his brother, and he pulled it out and went bup 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 bup, and the cat was no more, basically. Shot them off. Anyways, so Curious George picked up the machine gun, and it was one of those, I don't know, I'm not good at the names, but it's one of those old-fashioned looking machine guns from like World War II or something. But as Curious George, he was a lemur, not like an ape or anything like that. So he's there. He's got his hands are up like that, and oops, you can't really see it very well. island. So